Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Good night. Wow, why did I say good night? I mean, I haven't wrapped the video yet. But, anyways, I'm Angel Rivera, aka The Handsome Cynic, and I'm back with another standalone video on this channel. I know I haven't been doing many standalone videos lately, but, I figured why not talk about and do one now and talk about WrestleMania Night 2. This is going to be a wrestling related video. If you happen not to be subscribed to watch my wrestling content, this will be the first video. I occasionally make some wrestling videos, not often though, but I figured there's a lot of controversy about the finish of the Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania last night, and I figured why not talk about it? Because everybody in the internet wrestling community is having a collective meltdown over this match and the finish in particular. And I figured why not talk about it? Because at this point, it's driving me crazy how people just constantly are having these meltdowns, talking about how Roman Reigns shouldn't be the champion. It was a perfect moment. It was just that and a third. And I'm like, yeah, I was shocked. Before I continue, I want to give you guys my credentials, or not my credentials, but why I think I can talk about this and explain why Roman Reigns ultimately won. Look, I've been a wrestling fan since the late '80s. I've loved professional wrestling, been a big part of my life, and I follow it closely. And for over 30 years now, I'm 36 years old, and I could give you the reasons why Roman Reigns ultimately won this match and why he should have won the match. Why he should have won it. That's the key word, because I think even though everything that WWE did throughout, even during the entrances of both Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, made it seem like Cody Rhodes is going to win. From the Cody Rhodes entrance to having his family at ringside, to having his daughter, his wife, his mother at ringside, to Roman Reigns coming to the ring and Michael Cole running off all the people Roman Reigns has beaten in the last 2.5 years in his run, and to the piano music at the beginning, which was kind of like melancholy in my opinion. Like a sad intro to the whole, to before Roman Reigns actually made his entrance. Everything made it seem like, and throughout the match, made it seem like that Roman Reigns was ultimately going to lose. Of course, he didn't end up losing; he ended up winning, which was a very, very well done sleight of hand by WWE. Made it seem like Roman's going to lose, and then he didn't lose, and he retained, which shocked me. They managed to trick me somehow into thinking that Roman was going to lose. I've usually can sense these things out pretty good when is going to be a twist, but I didn't sense it out. They did a fantastic job with that. So I actually did a Twitter thread last night explaining why Roman ultimately won, at least my opinion on why he won, and I'm going to kind of expand on it. So let me just do this real quick. I actually should make that bigger. Let me make this a little bigger. There you go. That should be enough. Okay. Well, Roman Reigns is still a champion after WrestleMania, which I'm happy about. The reasons why I think the title change didn't happen is because WWE wants Cody Rhodes to get more sympathy with the crowd. That's the first. It's a thread, so let me keep going. So when the title switch most likely happens after Tribal Chief gets over 1,000 days as champion, when it happens, it'll be even more special. It was fantastic booking by WWE, though. I'm impressed by how they made it seem like the title change was happening. Again, they tricked me. I mean, they fooled me into thinking that the title was going to change hands last night, that the championship was going to change hands, and of course they didn't. So, of course, the championship didn't change hands. So I was caught off guard by that. This is old school booking by WWE. Build up a dominant, unstoppable heel as your world champion, and then build up a babyface to dethrone him. However, that babyface has to go through some sort of adversity. Cody Rhodes winning tonight would have been a nice moment, but since the American Nightmare wouldn't have gone through any real adversity, there's no guarantee that he would have gotten over with the fans over a period of time. He would have been seen as a golden boy, which just got handed a title. Again, that's that's a big one. I want to expand on that more. WWE build up an unstoppable heel as your world champion. That's specifically Southern old school booking from the territory days. I mean, usually the philosophy in the South, at least in the '80s and before that, was the money was in the babyface chasing the world title, the good guy facing chasing the title, not actually being champion. So that was where the money's at. So this is the WWE is basically doing the same thing here. So they're forcing Cody Rhodes to actually chase the world title and not give it to him in the first match. So it'll force the fans to continue watching and tuning into Raw and SmackDown and watching the pay-per-views in order to actually witness Cody Rhodes within the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 months become champion after a couple matches. So that's really what's going on here. It's an extension of the storyline of the. So we'll see more matches between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. This isn't the end of the world. This isn't like Cody Rhodes got buried last night. He didn't. WWE fans, don't worry. They didn't bury Cody Rhodes. They protected the hell out of him. It took Reigns, Solo, the Usos, and Paul Lee to beat him. There will be rematches. This isn't over. Yep. Again, that's just. I mean, they protected Cody Rhodes to the point where they protected him more than they protected him just as much as they protected Hogan, or they protected Cena when he actually lost, or John Cena. I mean, it took Roman Reigns, it took Solo Sikoa, it took the Usos, and it took Paul Heyman or Paul Lee because I know him as Paul Lee really because I grew up watching him as Paul Lee. They will be rematches. Yep, there will be at least one more rematch, maybe two, depending of how many matches it takes. And I can't wait for for the next match between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. The one last night was fantastic. The match was fantastic. The Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes work well together, and I'm looking forward to the continuation of this feud. And this is the final tweet because when I initially finished the thread and I thought and it went after about a few minutes I thought to myself, somebody's gonna compare this to Starrcade '97, Hogan against Sting because I know somebody's gonna do that. So I came back a few minutes later and said, by the way, this finish isn't Starrcade '97, where Hogan took 90% of the match and just beat Sting flat in the middle of the ring with his finish. I should have put with his finish, but I didn't. Now that's a burial. The Rhodes Reign match wasn't that. It was back and forth match, and WWE protected Cody. Yeah, I mean that's it. It's just, you if you're a wrestling fan, if you're older like I am, you remember Starrcade '97. It was Hogan versus Sting for the world title, for WCW world title, WCW world title, and defended. And Hogan took most of the match. Hogan dominated that match. He beat Sting flat, and then he beat Sting flat in the middle of the ring with his finish, with his leg drop, 1, 2, 3. Even though he was a heel and he's supposed to drop the title. The only reason why he ended up dropping the title was because Bret Hart came out and beat up the referee, restarted the match where Bret Hart was the referee, and Hogan tapped out to Sting, and Sting became the champion. So basically, the babyface is screwed over the heel, which is Hogan. That was the finish, which was one of the most ridiculous finishes you can ever imagine, and it was all Hogan's fault because he didn't want to lose this thing initially. So they had to come up with some convoluted, ridiculous finish where Hogan was protected because he couldn't lose this thing clean. So that's not what happened here. That's not what happened last night. Roman Reigns, it was a back and forth match. It looked like Cody's going to win a number of times. He ended up not winning. He got beat, but he got beat because 4 or 5 other guys interfered. So they definitely protected him. So they accomplished both things. Roman retained his title. Roman continues his historic reign. And Cody was protected. So it wasn't like he was buried last night. He wasn't buried. So here's another point. I want to make another point here because I want to make another point real quick, which is when AEW, and I'm gonna go to AEW real quick because I think it's rather important at this point. AEW, remember when AEW first started? What was their claim? They were going to do sports based presentation, which is basically treating professional wrestling more like a sport, which I'm always in favor of. I'm definitely always in favor of. I'm always in favor of having professional wrestling presented as a sport. Here's the thing, though. Part of sports based presentation is longer reigns of champions. So for example, Roman for example in UFC, let's talk, WWE just merged with UFC, and it was, as I talked about in my stream earlier, which you should watch. I'll have a link in the description box below, most likely. Like like John Jones was middleweight champion for years. Um, Francis Ngannou was heavyweight champion for a number of years. Anderson Silva was middleweight champion for years. George St. Pierre was welterweight champion for years. So title reigns usually last years in sports. When you have a sports based presentation, you're gonna have long title runs or long title reigns. It's just a thing. So if the AEW fans or a lot of wrestling fans want a sports based presentation, you're gonna have to accept longer title runs. It's just a thing. So I don't want to. A lot of fans on the internet, the IWC, Internet Wrestling Community, running their mouths about how, oh, Roman's been champion 2.5 years. Enough's enough. He needs to drop these titles. He needs to drop it. It's like, no, no, he doesn't. He doesn't need to drop the fucking belts. He's the biggest star in the business. He's over. I mean, there's plenty of more juice in Roman Reigns. The question is it 6 months? Is it another year? Does he have another year in him? Maybe. Especially if he's part time now, he definitely has another 6 months to year in him. If I were booking, how would it, I would have Cody go through another year of chasing Roman Reigns. Another year, yeah, a year. You can take a year of television time to have Cody go through more and more adversity, kind of like they did with Daniel Bryan 10 years ago. If you're a wrestling fan, you remember this. Daniel Bryan won the WWE Championship. He defeated John Cena clean. Then Randy Orton came to the ring with his Money in the Bank briefcase. Triple H pedigreed him. Randy Orton, pinned Daniel Bryan. Randy Orton became champion, and the Authority was created after that. The Authority, with Randy Orton as the heel champion, it took, a year? I think a year and a half for Daniel Bryan had a WrestleMania moment, became champion. In that incredible moment. One of the best main event matches I've ever seen in my life was that triple threat match between Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Batista. That wouldn't have happened if Daniel Bryan won the title and won clean at SummerSlam, and that's it. No, he needs to go through some sort of adversity. He needs, particularly Cody Rhodes, I'm talking about. He needs to go through some sort of adversity. He needs to go through some sort of, he needs to be beaten. He needs to be denied title shots. Something, he needs to be beat down by the bloodline. I mean, he needs that adversity. He needs more sympathy, to build up the sympathy among the fan base, to the point where the fans will basically riot if he doesn't win the title. That didn't happen. That wasn't going to happen at WrestleMania because Cody Rhodes was out for nearly a year with that torn pec muscle, and he just came back at the Royal Rumble. He won the Royal Rumble, but he wasn't. But ultimately, him winning the world title last night was too soon. The money is in the chase. Cody Rhodes needs to chase the world title. That's where the money is at. And Roman Reigns can't keep the title for another 6 months to a year and be fine. So this idea that Cody Rhodes is the perfect moment, it was the perfect moment, it was the perfect moment. Yeah, it would have been a nice moment. if Cody won the world title. However, in my opinion, what would have happened was, yes, fans would have been happy. Cody would have won the title. There would have been an initial like honeymoon period with Cody as champion. The fans would have been happy, would have supported, would have been behind him. But eventually, they would have turned on Cody because he would be seen as the golden boy. He's got handed the world titles for just because WWE sees him as the golden boy, kind of like Cena. And the fans turned on Cena and booed Cena for years. So the idea that the idea that Cody getting the titles wouldn't have hurt him in the long run is just not. The facts don't bear it out. Usually, wrestling fans are pretty fickle, especially in WWE, because fans like to turn on the babyface, especially if that baby. The reason why they didn't turn on Daniel Bryan is because he went through a lot of crap, a lot of adversity to get those titles finally, and he was over as a babyface even to this day. If Bryan Danielson ever comes back to WWE, he'd be one of the biggest baby faces in the company because of everything he went through, and the fans remember. So yeah, they WWE there. It seems like they're planning to do the same thing with Cody to get him over to that point where no matter what he does, he'll be universally cheered and the fans will support him because of all the adversity he's about to go through. So um, so that'll do it for this video. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there on why Roman Reigns ultimately retained the title. And there's another thing too that may have factored in, which is the merger between WWE and UFC, the new owners in Endeavor. They may have wanted Roman Reigns to continue being champion because they may insist on more of a sports based presentation too for WWE. So maybe Endeavor was like Roman Reigns, the biggest star in the business. I mean, why take the belts off of him? Doesn't make any sense. Just let him carry on as champion. We'll do the sports based presentation and have years long title runs, especially for the world champions. Not so much for the other titles. Secondary titles really you're not going to have a 3 year title run for the Intercontinental title with Gunther right now. He's been champion for nearly a year now, I believe. So yeah, they're not going to have a 3 year Intercontinental title run with Gunther, but a year and a half. Yeah, I mean you will see longer title reigns. I predict with this new with the new owners now with Endeavor, running the company. So that's most likely another factor in this too, not just for everything I just said earlier. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fans that are, that will not like what I had to say, but that's fine. I accept it. I don't. I know how the IWC is when they're angry. So the internet wrestling community. So they're not gonna want to hear what I have to say, which is fine. I mean, I'm a big boy. I can take the negative comments. But seriously, tell me what you think below. If you like it, like the video, please. Get subscribed to the channel to be probably more wrestling content coming soon. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.